My name is Lindsay Wilson, as you know. I'm singer-songwriter. Been here a number of times. It's my honor to be part of the Music for the Better World Awards. That's a beautiful title. And I'm going to kick off the events with a song called Same Boat Now, because we are in the same boat now. Yeah? This is a song that I wrote from a dream that I had. So I'm happy to be able to include you in this song. Same boat. Built myself a rowboat to get me to the other side. Then it occurred to me, I think I might want some company. So I called my brothers from another mother, called my sisters to come on board. Grab an oar and let's row together now, for we're all in the same boat now. There we go. Well, I think there's trouble in paradise. Heard things about me that weren't quite nice, about how I'm going against the grain. Seems like it's causing a lot of pain. But I beg my family, don't fear all the calamities. Calamities past, surely they won't last. Just grabbing my courage and learning to stand my ground, for we're all in the same boat now. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, oh, it is clear to see we're headed for rough waters. So let's set sail and hold tight before the night falls. The wind is strong and will carry us on to a land of hope and joy will cometh in the morning. Oh, in the morning. Built myself a rowboat to get me to the other side. Then it occurred to me, maybe you might wanna be my company. So calling all brothers from another mother, my beautiful sisters, come on board. Grab an oar and let's row together now, for we're all in the same boat now. And we'll have to stay afloat somehow, for we're all in the same boat now. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, we're all in the same boat now. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, I am here to sing with the chorus and to embrace all there is to endure. For we're in a war that's been around for ages, that builds us up just to tear us down. We all have doubts, doubts that make us weary. We've all feel the pain that'll stop us in our tracks. But we must not give in to the strength of our weakness. Only give thanks when we can fight the good fight. keep on marching, marching, marching on. Singing, singing, singing outward. Marching, marching, marching onward. Singing, singing, singing outward. We've all seen the changes in the weather. We've all seen the change, yeah, changes in the air. One day Mother will have her way with these changes that scorch our earth and sky and make us wonder why this is happening. We all have hopes though, hopes and aspirations. We think we have time, but time is not our friend. Don't waste your time on trials and tribulations, but forgive yourself for the bad choices you have made, 'cause I've made them too. So keep on marching, marching, marching onward. Singing, singing, singing outward. Marching, marching, marching onward. Singing, singing, singing outward. We are the future coming from the past, where the last will be first, the first will be last. If we are strong, strong enough to stand, let us all join hands now. For we are the future coming from the past, where the last will be first, the first will be last. If we are strong, strong enough to stand, let us all join hands now. And let's have thoughts of new beginnings. And let's have those dreams so they can be fulfilled. For I am here to sing with the choir, and to thank those who died for showing us the promised land so we can stand. Let us sing, sing for the children, for they're the reason we march on. Let's sing the song together and keep on marching, marching, marching onward. Singing, singing, singing outward. Marching, marching, marching onward. Singing, singing, singing out. Like Paul Robeson did. He was marching, marching onward. And singing outward. Marching, marching, marching onward. Singing, singing, singing outward. As we bravely march into the night So this is a This is a song that I wrote because I was inspired to write it, called Make Time for a Revolution. What does it mean? What does that mean, make time? Well, you know, we won't make time to do certain things in life. We won't make time to meditate. These are lyrics in the song that you'll hear. But it's about time we make some time for a revolution of sorts. It doesn't, right? Am I right on that? I'm in the right room. And so I wanted to dedicate a song to you, to those of us who are fighting for the good fight and keep fighting and have been mentored by those who know how to lead and organize. So this song is a little bit energizing. Please, when you catch that hook, sing along with me. But it's called Make Time for a Revolution. I hope you like it. We won't make time to meditate. We don't have no time to levitate. We won't make time to relax and chill. We won't have no time. We gotta pay the bills. We won't make time with our family and friends. We won't make time to try something new. Nope. But this is not the time to give in to the grind. Here's one thing we all can do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make time for a revolution. We are the answer and the solution. Let's build a world of harmony. Build a better world so we can be free, yeah. Finally free, yeah. We won't make time to read a book or two. We won't make time to get away for the day. We won't make time to eat what is right. We won't make time to hold our loved ones tight. We won't make time to think out of the box. We won't make time to enjoy all that we've got. But I've got a way to embrace the day. And if I can do it, so can you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make time for a revolution. We are the answer and the solution. Let's build a world of harmony. Build a better world so we can be free. Revolution is change. It is not about pain. It's about a new birth to show your worth. Revolution is right. It'll help us fight to take back what is ours in the 11th hour, like Tracy Chapman said. It's a revolution and it sounds like a whisper. Revolution, yeah. Revolution, yeah. Revolution, yeah. Revolution, all right. Revolution, revolution, revolution. 2, 3, 4. Make time for a revolution. You are the answer and the solution. Let's build a world of harmony. Build a better world so we can be free. We must make time to speak our minds while we still can. We must make time to say Thank you so much. I'll be back.
Give it up for Lindsay Wilson. All right. All right, comrades. If folks want to, there's more seats up front. If people want to fill in or bring their chairs closer up. All right. So, comrades, friends, and distinguished guests, my name is Ben Bath, and of the Better World Awards Organizing Committee, and also of the. All right. And also of the state exec of the New York District of the Communist Party. And it is my honor to welcome you all to Henry Winston Unity Hall. Our house is your house. The Communist Party is a home for all oppressed peoples, all sectors of our multiracial, multinational, multigendered working class. And Henry Winston Unity Hall is a space dedicated to and named for one of our movement's great leaders, who dedicated his life to the fight against racism, racist exploitation, and to build the fighting unity of the working class. For this, he was jailed by the federal government. He lost his eyesight while imprisoned by the federal government and would often remark about his experience of oppression that he, quote, that I lost my sight but not my vision. All right. It seems only fitting then to honor those in our time who have fought against racism, exploitation, who have fought for democracy and peace and for the unity of the working class and have never lost their vision. The Better Worlds Awards began 25 years ago and has been an occasion each year to honor the many struggles which have featured in the pages of People's World, our newspaper. The People's World, continuing the tradition of the Daily Worker, founded in 1924, has dedicated itself to the struggles of working people throughout the country and the world for peace, justice, equality, and a better world for all. The People's World covers news of, by, and for the working class and is supported entirely by the donation of its readers and fundraisers like the Better World Awards. The People's World coverage of struggles of our class have given hope and inspiration as well as practical information about solidarity actions and way ordinary readers can help. Through the People's World, we were able to follow and share to our friends and fellow workers thousands of inspiring moments of movement building and solidarity, sharing dispatches from the battle lines, as Art Shields might have said. Consider donating today to ensure that this vital voice of the working class continues to be heard. Comrades, I can think of no better quote to summarize the events that have transpired since we last gathered here than that well-known Gramsci saying, the old world is dying, the new world is struggling to be born, now is the time of monsters. This year's horror began in Minneapolis with the brutal murder of Renee Good and Alex Preddy by Trump's stormtroopers, followed by the invasion of Venezuela and the illegal abduction of their sitting president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores. The criminality of our government further escalated with a policy of tightening the deadly embargo on Cuba, cutting off oil to an entire country in order to try to end their sovereignty and reimpose a U.S.-backed regime. This foreign policy barbarism culminated in the unprovoked and illegal bombing of Iran, which began, let's not forget, with the massacre of 150 school children by a U.S. drone. Prices of fuel and basic goods continue to rise here at home as we feud with our neighbors, threatening Mexico, Greenland, and even Canada with potential invasion and coups. Just within the year 2025 alone, the U.S. bombed 8 countries, all illegal in undeclared wars of aggression, while our ongoing financial and military support for the criminal Israeli state has enabled the ongoing ethnic cleansing of the West Bank and continued violence against the population in Gaza. The Trump regime is continuing to build U.S. government's short-range ballistic nuclear missile capacity in Eastern Europe, egging on trends towards more general nuclear proliferation. And let us here take a moment to welcome Mr. Phan Dong Cong Than, Second Secretary of the Vietnamese Mission. Thank you. Thank you for attending. The Vietnamese government is currently playing a leading global role in the fight to rebuild the non-proliferations movement, seeking to build an international commitment to a nuclear-free world. Meanwhile, closer to home, MAGA forces in Congress, along with their Harlan Crow-sponsored friends in the Opus Dei Supreme Court, have unleashed an all-out war on what remains of U.S. democracy and civil rights. The last vestiges of the Voting Rights Act was just gutted 2 weeks ago, leading to a massive racist redistricting across the former Confederacy, effectively disenfranchising the African-American populations of those states. Trump has also ominously threatened the use of ICE and National Guard troops to patrol polling sites in the upcoming midterm election. ICE concentration camps continue to grow, with new holding facilities popping up unchecked in every state. MAGA forces are seeking to expedite the building of AI data centers, those massive energy-sucking, environmental catastrophe-accelerating monstrosities, which are being used by the tech oligarchs to downsize workforces, attack higher education, and create a massive investment speculation bubble for their billionaire friends. MAGA forces have gutted virtually all federal environmental regulations, opening up national parks for mining, rolling back meat safety standards, gutting the National Weather Service so it's harder to track global warming trends. In short, Trump is doing the bidding of his masters, the tech oligarchs and the oil and gas industry, the weapons industry, and the most chauvinistic and reactionary sectors of finance capital that seek to use racism, sexism, homophobia, and xenophobia at home and imperialism abroad to maximize their profits. And let's be clear, what they want is nothing short of a fascist dictatorship, full stop. And unless we do something about it, they are well on their way to accomplishing their goal. Amen. And yet, against all the odds, the fight back is growing. Across the country, waves of mass demonstrations were held in solidarity with the people of Minneapolis as they held their ground, protected their neighbors, and fought off the violent and relentless assault of Trump's ICE Gestapo troops. Unions have stepped into their historic role and picked up the banner of struggle at the national level, anchoring May Day demonstrations across the country in partnership with immigrant rights and civil rights organizations. Massive coalitions are forming in every city across the country, connecting up grassroots organizations with unions, social justice organizations of all kinds. ICE watches working with vulnerable immigrant populations can be found in almost every neighborhood of this city and throughout most U.S. cities, letting these stormtroopers of our day know that they shall not pass. Labor and immigrant rights and civil rights organizations are now playing leading roles in the anti-fascist front, centering working class demands in our collective fight for democracy. Working people continue to enact major electoral breakthroughs, from the election of Zohran Mamdani as New York City mayor, to the Chris Rabb campaign in Pennsylvania, to the Alexis Goldstein campaign in Maryland, Graham Plattner's Senate race in Maine. People's movements are driving progressive campaigns and wins across the country. And yet, building up a true working class program is up to us, the people's movements, not the politicians. We can never again merely hold up neoliberalism as the antidote to the far right. Instead, we must hold up a broad and visionary people's program capable of rallying the working class majority to both defeat MAGA fascism and build up a truly democratic, anti-racist, anti-sexist, worker-led society, the kind which will never allow fascism to take hold again. And that kind of society has a name. It's called socialism. We build a path to true democracy when we fight to strengthen working people's movements, when we fight for working class leadership in our coalitions, when we fight to center the demands of the most vulnerable and most oppressed sectors of our working class. We can reach broad liberal and centrist forces, as well as the non-voting majority of our country, only when the working class is organized and knows what it's fighting for. A broad program of social uplift based on what will benefit the working class multiracial majority, not the 1%. Only through such a path can we rally the forces necessary to defeat fascism. And how lucky we are that we have so many fighters here to teach us about struggles of the past and inspire us for our present task today. It is therefore fitting that we come together at this, though seasonally bright but politically dark time of year, to lift up the stunning achievements of these amazing and dedicated people, who we are proud to call comrades and friends, who have forged a pathway forward and have inspired us and countless working people with their dedication and commitment. The Better World Award shines out like a beacon of hope during this dark time. These awards serve to shine a light forward to the correct path to take to kindle a flame of hope in this darkening time. As that song we all know says, a better world's in birth. And we are privileged and proud to be able to honor some of the tireless champions who are fighting to bring it about swiftly and in our time. It is now my pleasure to introduce our MC for the afternoon, Jawanza Williams. All right, we have a slight change in program before I get to introduce Jawanza Williams. Oliver, why don't you come on up, and then we'll be hearing from Jawanza in a minute. All right.
Hello, everyone. Today, I have the honor of introducing the wonderful lifelong organizer, Tamika Mallory. Mallory's organizing career began at 15 when she started working in the National Action Network as a press and public relations associate. Her incredible organizational skills enabled a rapid rise to the ranks as she became NAN's youngest ever executive director. As NAN's executive director in 2014, Mallory joined then Mayor Bill de Blasio's transition team and proved pivotal in the creation of New York City's crisis management system, CMS. CMS is employed to this day and has been proven extremely effective with a 21% gun violence reduction in communities that utilize it. After NAN, Mallory continued to push our country forward in 2017, where she co-chaired the First Women's March, which saw about 500,000 demonstrators in DC and about 5 million people mobilized around the world. In the 2020 summer uprising, Mallory joined the protesters in Minneapolis and called to arrest the cops, charge the cops, not just some of the cops, all of the cops, not just here in Minneapolis, charge them in every city across America where our people are being murdered. Recently, Mallory has been a major contributor in 2 campaigns the YCL, CPUSA, and I personally have become directly involved in. The first being the national Target boycott. After George Floyd's lynching, Target responded by pledging to raise the number of Black employees by 20%, establish an equity committee, and spend over $2 billion on partnerships with Black-owned businesses. Days after Trump's mandate to destroy DEI, though, Target abandoned these initiatives. To address this betrayal, Tamika co-organized the national Target boycott that the YCL and CPUSA participate in to this day. The second initiative is the same one I coordinate for the NYYCL, the Justice for Sanaya Cheatham campaign. Sanaya Cheatham was an 18-year-old, queer, Black college student from the Bronx. Last year, Sanaya was found dead in her cell at midnight, July 5th. Police claim the cause was suicide, but at the first rally for Sanaya, Mallory pointed out how similar these circumstances are to that of Sandra Bland's, which occurred a decade prior, stating, "We had to ensure that Sandra Bland's family got the justice that they deserve so that we would not be standing here with Sanaya's family today. Now, we continue the fight for justice in support of Sanaya's family, friends, and community alongside Mallory." Living a life dedicated to justice, service, and safeguarding life, I'm happy to present to you all Tamika Mallory. Thank you for being up there.
Hello. Thank you so much, Oliver. Oliver and I met in the elevator coming upstairs, so we became acquainted before I arrived. I just want to keep it 100% real with you all. Today has been a lot. I first of all locked myself out of my apartment. I didn't have a phone to call a Uber. I would have been here much earlier. I had to call a family member to come break me into my house. So that happened. My mom successfully had a surgery yesterday, and my family is on a schedule of being with her, and I'm missing the part that I'm supposed to be doing, which is normal. They always are looking for me to show up where I'm supposed to be on time, and I'm not there. So there's that. And then also, I am watching from the sidelines as so many people have gathered, thousands in Alabama today, to stand up for our voting rights. And so all those things happening and trying to be here on time, it didn't work out as I would have liked, but I am here. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this acknowledgement. Awards are very tricky because, generally it's a whole team of people who are involved, who help us to be impactful and to do anything worth mentioning, worth honoring. And so when I accept this award today, I'm really accepting it on behalf of all of our siblings who are in Alabama right now, holding the line for our people. These last few forever has been very traumatizing. I don't know about you all, but I'm walking around somewhere between grieving and trying to hold my mental health together on a normal basis. And it's actually too normal, which is dangerous because none of us should be in a space where we're already in a fight that has never stopped. There has been a fight, especially for us as Black folks in this nation, since we came here, since we were trafficked here. And so we're already in a fight. But the crisis has become even more real and dangerous over this last year and some change now, however long those folks have been down there occupying the White House again. And that's dangerous for us for this particular reason. Because as I've said, this is not new, the attacks against us. But when the attacks become normal and plastered all over everything for you to see every single day, it is dangerous for your mental health, but it is also dangerous for the generations that are coming behind us, that they will inherit a world where they have less rights than we have or had. And again, we've already fought some of these things and we're having to do it again. And so I worry about my 3-year-old granddaughter because I know that the 30 years that I've been in this movement, there's no way I should be giving her a world where women have less rights than my mom, who's 80 years old. There is absolutely no way that that should be normalized. And we all ought to be fighting back against what we're seeing so that we preserve and build a better world for our children and their children. Because, as they went back to Alabama today, the home of the civil rights movement, the one thing that I know so many elders who are there right now are wondering, how did we get back here for this reason? For our voting rights. And let's be clear, the Voting Rights Act did not just protect Black folks. Disabled communities also found protections under the Voting Rights Act. Women found protections under the Voting Rights Act. And so we're all really, truly in this fight together. And as I travel the country, and I find that so many communities are vulnerable in this moment. So many people are feeling that they are not sure where their next paycheck is coming from. They're not sure whether or not they will have food on the table Some people, even in this moment, are having to stand on lines, circling blocks to get free food so that their families can get by in the richest nation in the world. How could that be? And what we're seeing is more and more and more vulnerabilities picking up every single day. And so I'm in the fight. Yes, here in New York City, I've done some work among incredible people. Oliver talked about the crisis management system, where we've been able to secure more than $100 million to deal with violence prevention in communities that really, if they had the resources that they deserve, there would not be the type of violence that we're seeing in the first place. And so we shouldn't need $100 million to get organizations the money they need to stop violence. We should have hundreds of millions of dollars to put people through school, to educate them properly, to feed them properly, to give them the proper opportunities. And we're working to shift that. We're working to make those changes. And we must be partners. And I want to say this, and I'll be done, because I also left my speech in the house with the keys that was locked in. Sorry. But I want to say this also. I ask my progressive brothers and sisters all the time, will you show up for Black folks the way that we all organize together to stand up for a lot of other issues? In this moment, I feel that there is too much silence around some of the issues impacting the community that I come from. I don't hear enough people talking about getting in the streets and mobilizing as we see Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act gutted. I don't hear enough of us talking about saving young Black men who sometimes all they have in their hand is not a job, it's not food, but a gun. I don't hear enough of us talking about the Black maternal health crisis. I don't hear enough of a focus from some of our progressive brothers and sisters to address the needs of the Black community. And I'm going to tell you why that's important. Because we, as a community, Black folks, Africans who were brought here to this nation, we are one of the original sins of America. And until the issues and the needs of our communities are addressed, none of us will be whole. So if you are trying to figure out what to do in this moment, show up for us. We've shown up for everybody, and we will continue to do that because the solidarity is important. But find a way to support those people who have continuously had a knee on our neck in this nation. And I promise you that when Black folks are free, as my sister Linda Sarsour says all the time, we will all be free. So thank you for acknowledging me today. God bless you all. This is a wonderful organization. A better world is exactly what we all should be working towards. And I'm excited to be a part of those of us who are fighting for a better world to become a reality. Thank you all. Take care.
It is such an honor to be with so many incredible fighters. Like I said, give another hand for Tamika Mallory. Incredible. So now it is my pleasure to hand you over to the actual MC of this event so I can get off of mic for the afternoon. Jawanza Williams. All right, Jawanza James Williams is a Black, radical, queer, prison abolitionist, socialist, feminist, Christian, engaged in social critique, local and state politics in New York. They are a PhD political science student at the CUNY Graduate Center. Williams is originally from Beaumont, Texas, and received a BA in English from Schreiner University in 2012 before moving to New York City, where they worked with Vocal New York for 13 years. Give it up for Vocal. At Vocal New York, they organized for black liberation, universal housing, prison abolition, and an end to the AIDS epidemic. They were one of the leaders in organizing local George Floyd uprising in New York City and in Occupy City Hall encampments to demand action against police brutality. Jawanza is also a previous Better World Awards recipient, an inspiration in general to all who know them, and someone who I'm very proud to call a friend. Come on up, Jawanza.
Wow. I'm mega honored to be here. Again, my name's Jawanza James Williams. I use he, him pronouns. And another round of applause for Tamika. That was really brilliant. But before I try to figure out these papers, I do want to do an invocation. I hear the voices of centuries past. They are singing in chorus a language perhaps my tongue will never speak, but I feel it deep in my bones when black blood wets the earth. And another opens their mouth, from which crawls the parts of revolution. Words for some, social movements for others, but all of them demanding dignity. Ashe, Amen, Amen. In the names of all of the people, in the names of all of the people, in the names of all of the people that made it possible for us to be here today, we all come from a people who for thousands of years who have confronted the monsters trying to destroy our world. And so today, it is my deepest honor to be in space, in a revolutionary space, in a space generated specifically to bring about what Valerie Kaur says, perhaps that this darkness we're experiencing is not the darkness of the tomb, but perhaps the darkness of the womb. Because as was said by Tamika and others, we are building a new world. We are birthing a new thing. And there are birth pains. And I just think that in this, I'm also in a very interesting transition period in my own life. And I recently moved to Atlanta. Maybe I'll stay there forever, maybe not. But we are up against very, very powerful forces. And I am filled with deep hope and gratitude when I think about a space like this, an event like this, the idea to create an award that honors people who are struggling to build a new world, a better world. I promise you, like magic, I knew from the moment I became conscious at all, so this is around 5, 6 years old, I would say, that obviously the whole point of this was to make the world a better place. I promise you I knew it. Like spoken in my ear by some wraith, some spirit, some invisible entity or something perhaps. That said, first of all, we also have to thank Lindsay Wilson, our wonderful musician who began earlier. Lindsay Wilson is a New York City-based singer-songwriter who has a flair for nostalgia with a memorable mix of 70s style urban folk rock and conscious lyrics. Throughout her musical career, Lindsay Wilson has embraced issues of the heart and mind within her original music. Love songs, protest tunes, and lyrics of empowerment and revolution have all been a true representation of her style and sensibilities. Her songs, Simunye, stand for the people and the people shall rise, have caught the attention of culturally diverse audiences throughout the country. Lindsay's influences stem from a myriad of musically conscious voices such as Odetta, Richie Havens, Joni Mitchell, and Joan Armatrading. However, Lindsay's message is truly her own. We are so grateful for you joining us today and to share your music with us. So one more round of applause for that incredible experience. So, moving us right along so we can present our next award, I would like to bring up the person introducing our next awardee. So I want to bring up Trevor Hoover. Sweet. Trevor Hoover is a CPUSA Brooklyn Club, Veterans for Peace, and Cuba C, New York, New Jersey. As a veteran, Trevor fights to end the U.S. war machine. Trevor is currently involved in the Break the Chains and Demilitarize Brooklyn Navy Yard campaigns to stop U.S. distribution of military gear and weapons to Israel, and works in Cuba C to put an end to the 66-year U.S. blockade on Cuba. Trevor Hoover.
Good afternoon. It's so great to be with you as we celebrate the heart, the dedication, the fight back of the orgs and organizers gathered here today. For my role, I'm very pleased to be introducing the brilliant, inspiring, and tireless organizer, Hannah Staus. Hannah is the co-director and co-founder of Hands Off NYC, the massive organizing hub and coalition at the heart of New York City's resistance to MAGA fascism. Hands Off NYC has managed to bring together the major progressive labor unions and the large immigrant rights and civil rights organizations in New York City to work alongside grassroots community groups. The result has been a real people's coalition with a presence that is felt in every borough and neighborhood in New York City. Though Hannah only recently began her journey in New York City organizing, she has already managed to win the trust of longtime activist organizations and get buy-in from all the major progressive power blocks in New York City, and all this before even turning 25. Over the past decade, she built her work around bringing people into collective action through large-scale mobilization, deep coalition building, and sustained community engagement. In the past year, she has brought those skills to bear, turning Hands Off NYC into the organizing juggernaut behind New York City's largest mobilizations of late, and building lasting organizing partnerships across communities and across ideological lines. Before founding Hands Off NYC, Hannah had organized in her hometown of Dallas, Texas, and advocated for peace abroad and police reform. Her approach centers on community care, developing new leaders, and the belief that everyone has a role to play as an organizer. So with that, I'm so pleased to welcome to the podium Hannah Staus.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's a real honor to be in this room with so many people that I look up to, so many people I've been following for years. And I still get a little overwhelmed being a part of it all. So first want to say just a thank you to People's World for the Better World Awards. And also a thank you, yes. And also a thank you to all of the friends and collaborators that are in this room. It means a lot to not only be recognized up here for the work that we've done collectively, but also just to be in the space with you. Every time we get to come together and really have a gathering that's about celebration and joy and acknowledgement of all that we have won and all that we have fought for in a time that feels so heavy, I think is so important. So really honored to be here today. I started to think about what to say about these times, and I think we all agree there's a lot to be said about these times. And I know a lot of you have spent time not only holding communities together through what feels like chaos and, as Leslie was putting it earlier, a nightmare, but also holding yourselves together and your families together, holding so many pieces together and being tired. I think we all come into this room very tired, very exhausted, very overwhelmed, but very hopeful. And I want to talk a little bit about that hope today. I didn't necessarily grow up believing in this idea of hope and collective change. I actually first got involved accidentally when I was 13 in Texas, and I wanted to bring my girlfriend to the school dance, and they said no. And so I took about 50 13-year-olds, and we stormed down into the administrator's offices. And I don't think they knew what to do. And I don't think I knew I was organizing. I just really wanted to bring my girlfriend to the school dance. And I really haven't stopped since. Call it stubbornness or impatience or whatever it might be. But I grew up in a generation that was taught very clearly, and 1,000 times over on many platforms, that believing in change wasn't something that was actually going to do anything. That all of the despair that we felt, that all of the outrage that we felt was never going to amount to anything tangible. I mean, I was 16 when Donald Trump was elected for the first time. Like, the time that I was finally starting to think about what it might look like to vote for a candidate, that's what we had. And I was in Texas watching the celebrations happen in my school, you know? And so my generation has no reason to really believe that systems are worth changing. We're back there again now. Everything I've ever watched people fight for since I was politically conscious, it feels like we've returned and we've somehow gotten worse. But I am stubborn, and I knew I was probably going to fight anyways. I didn't know I didn't know what that fight would look like yet. I had no idea that it would bring me into rooms like this, that it would bring me also to New York City, that I'd have the chance to meet face to face with so many of the people that I saw on my phone in 2016 that reminded me that there were still people out there fighting. But I also didn't know it would bring me into the streets alongside people that taught me something different about what's truly possible. What I did know was that there was something inside me that really couldn't accept this idea that this was the best we could do to care for each other. And I think that's why many of you are here today. Not some kind of certainty or confidence that we've got this in the bag, but a refusal to accept what's going on, a refusal to accept cruelty and isolation and fear as the natural state of things. And I think what organizing has taught me since then is that hope is not naive, and it's not passive, and it's not something that we do because it feels good. It's not something soft or foolishly romantic, but it's actually a responsibility. A really heavy responsibility that we carry as organizers and as neighbors and as community members. One of the most tragic places I found hope this year was in Minneapolis at the beginning of the invasion. I went down because I have friends down there that are really deeply embedded into the rapid response work, not only to learn, but also to be there for my friends, to experience this tragedy in a city that is all too familiar with tragedy, in a city that is used to having to step up and take care of each other, is used to being failed. There was this quiet on the streets that I still can't quite describe. It felt like every interaction was just clouded with this grief and this exhaustion, but also this determination. But then I saw in many different businesses all of these places where people had left behind beautiful resources, whether it was whistles or gas masks or goggles and earplugs, resources to different places where you could get food, neighbors who had never been involved before that I met in the middle of bars that were talking about how they just delivered their first meal to a family who needed it, who was in hiding. There was the man at the bar who complimented our whistles as we walked in. And so we knew what that meant, and by the time we stood up, he was gone, but our meal had been paid for. And then there were the memorials. I think many of you probably saw them online. These beautiful and tragic and heartbreaking gatherings of flowers and candles and stuffed animals for the mother who had been shot. And, you know, it was Alex Preddy's memorial and Renee Good's memorial, and just a few blocks away, there was still George Floyd's memorial. And it was the hardest and the most inspiring thing that I was a part of there, because I saw so many people I've met in New York City in those memorials. I saw so many people that I know that would respond in the exact same way. That, like, any day it could have been one of the people that I'm so proud to stand alongside. I think the reason that Minneapolis hit me so hard was because it was a reminder that this better world that we want to build isn't theoretical. It already exists in so many fragments around us. And I think you see it most in tragedy. It exists every time somebody opens up their home for a training, every time a neighbor checks in on another neighbor, every time you respond to something going on nearby. Sharing resources, translating for families, walking somebody home, spending hours building coalition with people that you don't necessarily agree with because you know that the stakes are bigger than any organization or any ego. And I think it's important to say because coalition building is so imperfect and it's sometimes a little annoying with love. It's messy and it's emotional and there's history and tension and burnout and misunderstanding. There are the people who move too fast and the people who move too slow. There are things that none of us ever understand. The whole thing kind of feels like high school sometimes. There are disagreements about strategy, messaging, priorities. Everybody's exhausted. It shows. And it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary because over and over again, we decide that staying together matters more than being perfectly aligned. It matters more than the fact that we fought about last week where the demonstration should be or who can pay for the signs. It matters so much more than all of that. And with all there is to say about this moment, it is showing us how many unlikely allies are willing to step into a movement now that weren't before. Every single day, we have new people reach out to us that we're shocked to hear want to be on the same website page as another organization. The more we lean on each other, the closer we get to making things possible. And that's what gives me hope now. Not this illusion that we're doing enough, not this illusion that we're really there yet, or the fantasy that organizing is going to become easy, but the knowledge that ordinary people, when they choose each other consistently, are really capable of making history. And that's why I've come to believe and why I keep reiterating that hope is not just a feeling. It's a discipline, it's a practice, it's a responsibility we have to each other. I was at our big Brooklyn mass training earlier today, and I have a responsibility to show up at a training and give off this hope that I believe a better world is possible. Because if I don't believe it, who the hell's gonna, If I'm bringing people into a movement and I don't believe that our movement is capable of change, then what are we doing? It is a responsibility that we nurture in each other. And change has never come from certainty. It's always come from people who are crazy enough to believe it anyways. So I think people are exhausted and scared, but through Hands Off NYC and all the amazing organizations that are a part of it, we've found thousands of people desperately looking for any way to get involved. We found hundreds of new leaders. We've had hundreds of event hosts who had never done anything a day in their life. We've sent people to new organizing homes. We've collected different organizing projects. We've brought people together that have never talked before. It's been fantastic, and it's nowhere close to over. We don't have the people we need yet to win, but we're getting there, and we're gonna get there. And rooms like this remind me it's possible. We have artists imagining new political language, coalitions forming across all of these ideological lines that frankly weren't supposed to come together this way. We have people willing to experiment and take risks, willing to try building something bigger than ourselves, and I hope we get more ambitious. I hope we move in ways that are creative and courageous. I want to make a lot more space for experimentation and culture and art, imagination and mistakes. Because if we're not making mistakes, we're not learning. And if we're not learning, we're not trying hard enough to get to that future we want to build. I want us to start making more magic together and embody what we know and preach and say, that nobody is coming to save us. And a few years ago, that statement filled me with a lot of dread. And now I see it as saying that we are here to save each other. It's a statement of our power collectively. So despite everything, despite the grief and uncertainty of the moment, I've never felt more convinced that ordinary people are capable of real change when they decide that they belong to each other, over and over and over again. So I'm incredibly honored to accept this award tonight, but I accept it humbly and collectively on behalf of every organization that has thrown in for all of the major coalition work we've done this year, every volunteer who stayed late stacking chairs, or who held their first event or started their first group, every call of mine that Leslie Kagan has picked up early in the morning and talked me through the mysteries of life and organizing. Every person who's opened their home and shared resources and walked with a neighborhood and just chosen to believe, even for a second, that things don't have to be the way that they are. This is for all of us, and I want everything that we build to continue to be for all of us, built by all of us. So thank you for believing in this work and for the award today, and thank each of you for choosing each other and choosing messy coalition building every time in a world that so often tells us not to.
Wow. Very, very brilliant. And one day we will reflect about how we saved ourselves, and Hannah will be among the ones that we recall. I'm gonna keep us moving right along. You know, I typically am long-winded, but you know what? Let's move forward. My papers are a little bit out of order. Just for one moment. Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha. So next, I would like to introduce Ben, who's going to introduce our next award recipients. Ben Bath is a proud member of CPUSA and a local 802 AFM member who primarily organizes forums, rallies, and events through the recently revived Left Labor Project here in New York City. He became politically active in the movement to free Mumia Abu Jamal and became a student organizer in the Boston High School. Free Mumia. And he became a student organizer in the Boston High School Student Coalition against the Iraq War. While in college, Ben helped organize the Student Solidarity Wing of a multi-campus, multi-year 1199 SEIU organizing drive in the Hudson Valley, and went on, like most of his cohort, to join the Occupy Wall Street movement, the student debt relief movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, and the Bernie Sanders campaigns. As a youth organizer in New York City, Ben worked on the Green Light New York campaign, built the Youth Stand Up for Justice program, and engaged in anti-racist organizing through the Jewish Solidarity Caucus. He also lectures, performs, and teaches movement music to union student groups, activist organizations, and has founded multiple movement choirs and was on the board of the People's Music Network. He is currently very active in the fight to save public housing, and I am truly inspired and honored by Ben and I also call him a comrade and a friend. Ben Bath, everybody.
All right. I'm back again. Okay. Thanks, Shawanza. All right. Well, I'm here to introduce the FEC Tenants Against Demolition. So give it up. Give it up. So, all right. So ever since the Wagner-Steagall Act of 1937 was passed as part of the New Deal, creating a public option for housing with federally guaranteed tenant rights and built-in tenant councils, big real estate has gone to war to destroy it. Section 9 public housing was once the envy of the post-war world, with Western European countries scrambling to emulate it. Public housing developments were and are filled with trees, playgrounds, community centers, senior centers, children's centers, murals with fresh air and open skies. The building of massive public housing developments in New York City, coupled with the extension of rent control to over 90% of private rental stock, remember that, made post-war New York City, for a time, one of the most affordable cities in the country. But big real estate struck back, as we know, with capital disinvestment through Nixon, Reagan, Bush, and Obama, coupled with the gutting of social programs, the rollback of rent control and rent stabilization, redlining, urban renewal, and the massive defunding of Section 9 housing, all of which has led us to the current moment. Through decades of defunding public housing and decades of demonizing public housing residents, big real estate has convinced even some progressive politicians of the wisdom of privatizing and demolishing Section 9 housing. That's right. While simultaneously attempting to convince us that building more market rate housing will bring down rents. The recent 3 ballot measures which passed this last election cycle are part of this overall plan and will circumvent community review and upzone in order to fast-track market rate housing in every neighborhood in the city, all while both city and state governments still plan to cut funding and privatize the majority of public housing stock. It was during the de Blasio administration that the RAD-packed privatization scheme was unleashed on NYCHA residents with the support, unfortunately, of almost every major elected Democrat in city and state government. But the residents of Fulton and Elliott Chelsea are fighting an even more formidable enemy than that lazy and dangerous political consensus. They are fighting Essence Development and related companies, which have unleashed a privatization scheme on their housing campuses, a scheme which these companies have already enacted in places across the country, which, if allowed to happen, will result in the demolition of the buildings, the displacement of the residents, and the infill of the land. Against all these forces, FEC Tenants Against Demolition have stood firm. It's virtually impossible to summarize the daily acts of tenacity, brilliance, as well as kindness and community building that the tenants of Fulton and Elliott Chelsea houses engage in. I first encountered this struggle in 2019 as it was already well underway. Through weekly tablings and distribution of COVID masks, we got to know countless residents and hear about their struggles. The FEC Tenants Against Demolition have battled corrupt and criminal tenant presidents, seriously corrupt politicians, and successive state and city governments so that they can keep their homes, their dignity, their rights, and their community intact. They have petitioned, demonstrated, rallied, shown time and time again that the vast majority of residents are against demolition, went en masse to every community board meeting, land use committee hearing, organized demonstrations outside of City Hall, ousted a corrupt tenant leadership in Elliott Chelsea through a successful resident election, came close to doing so in Fulton, organized community days, block parties, endless informationals, made a documentary film, which is being shown now across the country, have organized several insurgent city council campaigns, and maintain a blistering schedule of at least 2 meetings a week, have built a formidable district and neighborhood coalition, have held endless press conferences, have stood their ground against violent stooges in the employ of, who knows, intimidation, and have fought one of the biggest real estate operations in New York City in court. And they have begun to make their voices heard. Finally, through the media blackout, politicians are beginning to listen. Public housing residents across the city and state are thinking that maybe they can fight back too. Progressive forces are beginning to push back against this abundance agenda, supply-side economics bullshit that's being pushed for housing. And progressive forces are beginning to challenge those in their own ranks to do the same. The fight to save public housing, but also to fund and build more of it, is growing across the country, and FEC Tenants Against Demolition are leading by example, showing that it's possible to stand up to the most powerful forces of real estate. Their fight is really a fight for all of us. The building and funding of Section 9 public housing must be at the center of a true affordability agenda. And through it all, these tenants have maintained their humor, dignity, community, their humanity, and mostly their sanity. So it is my pleasure to introduce 2 of the hardest fighting people I know, Jacqueline Laura and Salinas Miranda, who will accept the Better World Awards on behalf of the 2 of the hardest fighting communities I've ever encountered or had the privilege to work with, the NYCHA residents of Fulton and Elliott Chelsea houses.
So Ben pretty much introduced introduced us, we were the tenants of the Elliott Chelsea houses in Fulton. So when we formed, we were just a few tenants who gathered at the CP USA 23rd Street office with the hopes and intent to stop demolition. We didn't even have a name. I remember at the office when we brainstormed and came up with different names and finally decided FEC Tenants Against Demolition. It was so literal and sounded so right. We were and are tenants of either the Fulton houses or the Elliott Chelsea houses who are against this demolition proposal. We thought that we were just tenants with a purpose and a name. Little did we know that we would be recognized as a team, an organizing team. It wasn't until we first read a news article from the architecture publication, our name, FEC Tenants Against Demolition, that we realized we were legit. Seen as a group who were fighting passionately to save our homes, we were getting the recognition that we needed. We've gained allies along the way and have built coalitions as well. We're immensely grateful. I always get emotional.
I didn't want to do it because I was going to cry. Look. Fight.
It's like deja vu. We're immensely grateful and very appreciative.
It's okay. Take over.
To all the help and support and the guidance that we received.
It's okay. It's a hell of a fight.
We did begin organizing every Monday here in this very office where we my tears I can't see anymore. Where we had access to plenty of the resources, including the goodies from the pantry.
Thanks, Ben.
And Benjamin Bath was the facilitator who made access to this space possible. He's our initial CPUSA contact, and other members who have been of incredible help, such as John and Matthew, who helped with the Chinese translation during our petition phase, and the rest of the CPUSA team who have shown up in solidarity to our rallies. This space has always been a source of immense encouragement and support. This is also blurry. My printer's not working well.
So it's not only hers.
And for the past year, about the past year, in estimation, the YCL, the Young Communist League, has joined with the Chelsea Public Housing Coalition, and along with the Chelsea Public Housing Coalition, has provided plenty of support and assistance with the organizing efforts. We're always so very appreciative for the help and assistance we receive from every single body. We thank you immensely.
We want to thank all the allies that have been with us. And most of all, we want to thank Maria for sticking to Building 11. She's the only resident there standing, holding that building up from this demolition happening. And Jonathan and the rest of the family on the B building. We also want to thank Layla, who's been with us since day one. We love you, Layla. You did an awesome job. It's not easy, you know. I'm an amateur at it, but I know it's not easy. But she did an amazing job, and she's still with us no matter what. She's been with us since day one, and she'll stay with us till the end. And June 11th is our court day, guys, and let's not forget, everybody come out to the courts. Anyway, thank you all. I appreciate all of you for the support. This has been a really long fight. Yeah. Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Wow. I always think that it's such a profoundly important thing to acknowledge the depth with which we feel that leads us to trying to take care of people. I mean, it's the most basic and fundamental thing that makes us human. A thing that has to be maintained. So I would next like to introduce our next introducer for the next award. Actually, we're going back to Lindsay for a musical interlude. Lindsay?
Okay. Hello. How's that going? Okay. I'm back. How's it feel? Feels good, right? To celebrate each other as it should be. As it should be. This song is called Simunye. And Simunye means we are one. It's from the Xhosa tribe in South Africa. Xhosa, can you do it? Click and say it at the same time. Xhosa. It's good enough. It means we are one. And I think we have a wonderful example of that. We are all doing the good work, and we have to stand up together. So I wrote this song for a dear friend of mine who signed her letters or an email, Simunye. And I just thought it was a wonderful tribute to create a song around, and I'm going to share it with you. What's all the crying for? What is all the dying for? Are we searching for solutions to change our constitution? Either way, it's a revolution. A revolution of the mind. Sibunye, we are one under the same sun. Where have all the people gone? War history of pain. Is there no shame? Simunye, we are one under the same sun. Simunye, if we are all one, then we must unite under the sun. We are no different from each other. Your heart beats same as mine. We are no different from each other. You're my sister, you're my brother. We must give future a chance. Let the children have their dance. They must not pay the ultimate price. Save the children from the vice. Save the children from the vice. Let the children have a life. We are people of the earth. Stand up and show your worth. People, we must stand true. The world is lost without you. Yet there's so much work to do. There's so much work to do. There's so much work to do. But it's up to me and you now. Hey, see moon, yeah. We are one under the same.
Next, I'd like to welcome Tina Nanarone, who will tell you a bit about the People's World. Tina Nanarone spent 23 years working as a mechanic at the Port Authority, where she was with a local 563 SEIU shop steward for most of that time.
And so say
As you know, you can read about everything that's happened here in the People's World. You can read about the FEC tenants against demolition. You can read about the Target boycott. Especially right now, what's going on with voter suppression and the big march that's happening today, I'm sure will be covered in the People's World. So, more and more and more. And many people here have written for the People's World. I know Joe Sims has written for the People's World. Yeah. Ani has written for the People's World. Jacob Buckner, Scott Hiley. Who else? Raise your hands. Yeah. Right? On Cuba. Yeah. So, yeah. And so there's also a staff of the People's World, as you may know. A rather small staff, also represented by a union. So it does take money to keep the People's World going. So even though a lot of us are volunteers. So if you want to do it online, just go to www.peoplesworld.org. There's a donate button. You can do it that way. It doesn't matter how you do it today, the People's World will get it. Anytime you're inspired by something you've participated in, anytime you're frustrated with something that's going on that you feel not enough people have been paying attention to, write an article and put it in the People's World. Yeah, okay. I guess that's what I have to say. Thank you, everybody.
I will add that the link, like the suggestion to use the People's World as a site to as catharsis, to excise the demons that arise inside of you because you're so frustrated. I did get to do that whenever Governor Hochul deployed hundreds of National Guard troops into the subway before Trump was doing it. And I was like, I cannot fathom that they did this. And so I was just so frustrated. I mentioned to Ben that I was writing something about it, and next thing you know, it was published. Anyways, to introduce our next of our last two awardees, I want to bring up Kara Fan, who is an artist and Queens resident who has been organizing in the No More 24 movement since early 2024, when home care workers organized their first hunger strike at City Hall. Through No More 24 is how they got into Young Communist League and Youth Against Sweatshops, organizing homes that seek to change a system that centers profit into one that centers health. They also organize in the fight against the casinos they state wants to dump onto Queens and the Bronx. The state wants to dump onto Queens and the Bronx. As well as Working People for Health, which seeks to bring universal health care to the state. Kara is a person who is united with the super exploited and working class, much like the next recipient of the Better World. Kara?
Hello. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. I'm Kara. Kara if you're British. Fawn was correct, though. That was great. I am a local organizer from Queens, and I'm so happy to introduce our next Better World recipient. When I started organizing, it was through the No More 24 campaign, a movement led by migrant home care workers who are forced to work 24-hour shifts and only paid for 13 of those hours, who are not only fighting for remuneration, but also to change the system to one that centers health, for a world where our lives are worth more than money. And it's from this worker-led struggle that I met council member Christopher Marte. Woo! At a time where I had little faith in politicians, I always had a thought in the back of my mind, so what's the deal with this guy? And as I continued to organize in coalition with Lower East Side Chinatown, I did learn more of Chris's background and who leads his decision-making for the district. I was surprised that he took stances that were not popular amongst neoliberals and that he took on causes that got him into trouble with developers. I was also shocked when his bills like the No More 24 Act and Intro 1096, Retiree Protections Bill, were that, bills that make common sense were being dunked on by the system that continues to expose how aligned other elected officials are with capital and the ruling class. Chris Marte, however, continues to make it very clear that he is led by the working people that he serves every day. From truly affordable housing, to ending the 24-hour workday, to protecting green space and public land, to protecting retirees, the campaigns he's a part of mobilize workers, students, or retirees across trades and sectors so successfully, and it leaves me excited, but also makes me wonder how he keeps up. Chris does make it very clear, though, to me that he does so because he's called to it. Chris Marte is different from other politicians because instead of selling out, he steps up. His his leadership and perspective are examples that are definitely in my little mental scrapbook of organizers I aspire to emulate. So congratulations to Chris Marte. I hope you feel seen and recognized for all the hard work that you do for a better world, for your community and its future. Unfortunately, he's not here today because he is running a half Ironman marathon, but he took time in the middle of his race to make a lovely video that we are going to screen now. Yes.
Hi everyone, it's Councilmember Christopher Marte. Sorry I can't be there today to receive the award, but this award is much more than me. It's for everyone who has been in the fight with me, from the home attendant fight to end the 24-hour workday, to make sure that people can work with dignity and patients can get the care that they deserve. It's for the Nitro residents who haven't taken no for an answer, and it's fighting against billionaires and the real estate industry who continue to try to tear our communities apart. This award is about making a better world. And when we live in the greatest city, but also the city with the greatest inequalities, it really shows why the fight is here at home. And everyone's watching. The whole world is watching what we do here in New York City. And it's not just electing popular politicians, it's uplifting and making sure that people know they have the power. Again, thank you so much for this honor. Sorry I can't be there today. I'm actually running a half Ironman, and I badly timed this whole thing, but from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the power that you provide. Thank you for the movement you've created, and to many more victories. I'll see you later. Thank you.
Yay! Yes, thank you. Woo, Marte! Ooh, I will definitely give this to him with lots of gusto.
Brilliant. I want to introduce our final introducer for our final awardee this evening. Ani Toncheva is the YCL USA representative for the World Federation of Democratic Youth, originally from Bulgaria. Ani is dedicated to internationalism and anti-militarism through building travel delegations of young organizers to learn from struggles around the world and build lasting networks of solidarity. In New York City, Ani is involved in local labor and housing struggles and the coalition fight back against MAGA's attacks on democracy and working people. Ani, everybody.
Hi, everyone. God, it's so moving to be here with all of you. I'm trying not to cry. It's my honor to introduce Leslie Kagan, this year's recipient of the Better World Awards Lifetime Achievement Award. And it would be completely impossible to summarize the incredible work of Leslie Kagan since she's been organizing for more than 60 years, but I'll do my best. I was talking to Bob Schwartz the other day from Global Health Partners, and he was reminiscing about being a teenager, organizing, being in a room with Leslie and being impressed by her. From organizing against the Vietnam War and against racism to fighting for nuclear disarmament, for LGBTQ liberation, women's emancipation, fighting for Palestinian self-determination and an end to the blockade of Cuba, Leslie Kagan has been one of the sterling and inspiring organizers of our movement. From 2002 to 2009, Leslie was the national coordinator of United for Peace and Justice, a coalition of 1,400 groups central to the movement against the war in Iraq. Her coalition building and organizing skills have mobilized millions of people in many of the nation's largest demonstrations, including the 1982 million-person nuclear disarmament demonstration in New York City, the historic 1987 Lesbian Gay Rights March on Washington, the massive mobilizations against the Iraq War in 2003 to 07, the 2014 People's Climate March in New York City, and the 2019 Queer Liberation March for the 50th anniversary of Stonewall. She's been centrally involved in a wide range of political campaign efforts, including serving as field director for the 1989 David Dinkins mayoral campaign, the struggle to save Pacifica Radio in the early 2000s, from fighting for abortion and reproductive rights to serving on the national board of Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Coalition. She's recently been deeply involved in the work to end the Israeli genocidal war in Gaza through the group Radical Jewish Elders, and is involved in every major anti-ICE and anti-MAGA coalition effort in New York City. She is in the thick of the struggle, always mentoring, sharing, building, and organizing. Her writing appears in 11 anthologies and scores of print and online outlets. She's done more workshops, conference presentations, and speeches at rallies than we could count. It's my great pleasure and honor to be able to offer her this award as a very small token of our admiration and to show the deep respect and love that we have for her and her incredible work. She has shown us all what a life well lived looks like. Her example has and will continue to inspire countless radicals, agitators, organizers, and troublemakers. With incredible perseverance, she has shown in her commitment to fight for and win a better world for all.
Okay. Hi. Hi. Okay. Yeah. That's what happens. You know, I have to bear with me. I have a voice issue. It's actually strange, the world we live in. I have the same problem with my voice that RFK Jr. has. And that's embarrassing. So bear with me. When I hear an introduction like that, I understand why I'm tired. It has been a lifetime. It's not ending anytime soon. Don't worry about that. But it has been packed with work, with joy, with struggle, with friendships, with solidarity, with pain, with love, with all of the range of human emotions. And that's, as somebody said before, that's what makes us human. It's not one single thing that we do. It's not one idea that we have. It's not one emotion that we feel. It's the whole package. And that, I think, is critical to understanding given the times we are in. It is about the struggle for human dignity, for human respect, for encouraging the fullness of each of us as individuals that makes our communities as strong as they can be. I am honored to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm honored to have a lifetime. And I am honored to do this with four other incredible people and organizations. It's never about one person or one group. It's certainly never been about me. It is always about we. That is the thread line. That's what holds us together. That consciousness and that commitment, not just to solidarity, which is a cornerstone of it, but to actual engagement with other people. And by other, I don't just mean people that are exactly like us, but more of us. I mean all the ways that people are, and all of the unique and particularly special features of communities and individuals. It's that family. And I use that word hopefully in the best, strongest, most inclusive way to use that word. It's the family that we are part of. So, having said that, I do have a few thoughts about the times that we are in. I'm not young. I have seen a lot in this city, in this country, in the world. And I don't know about anybody else in the room, but I have never seen or been in a moment like we are in. And moment's not the right word. In a stretch of time that we are in. This struggle is profound. Over the years, at different times, in different struggles I've been involved in, people have said, he's a fascist. It's usually a he. He's a fascist, or their policies are fascist, or that administration is fascist. And I've said over and over the years, no. They're terrible, they're awful, we have to get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. But it's not quite fascism. I am sorry to say that while we don't, I don't think we are yet in full-blown fascism in this country. I mean, we are here today, right? But the march toward fascism in this country and around the world is well underway, and that's horrifying. That should be horrifying enough to us that we actually take a minute to rethink what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I'm not blaming us for the work we've done over the years. And actually, a word to my peers in the room, people with the gray hairs on their head. I think we, over the years, have done tremendously important, positive work. We certainly didn't achieve everything we were trying to achieve. But that's true. At the same time, I, in my bones, believe we actually made literally millions of people's lives better. Not 100% better, but in some instances a little bit better, and in other a whole shitload better. and we should be proud of the work we did. At the same time, we can't wallow in that, and we can't sit still and say, well, we tried. That's not appropriate to the moment. So that leads me to a word to the young people in the room, and you know who you are. I think this is not, I'm not the only one who feels this way. The work that you all not just are doing, but giving leadership to at this moment in this country is, for me, the cornerstone of any hope I have. I don't mean to burden you with too much, but it is your creativity, your commitment, your boldness, your tenacity, your humor, and your politics that gives me hope. And I think I probably speak for a whole bunch of older people too, that it's not just a slogan that the future is in the hands of the young people. This is reality, folks. And it is a tremendous honor for me to be able to have any contact, let alone work side by side with young people in the city and around the country. So I just want to thank you for what you're doing and for what I know you will be doing. A few more quick things to say. We're at a point, I think, in this struggle where we have to consider the possibility that it's time for us to rethink how we do our work, because it's not enough right now, given what we're up against. So I've been quietly one-on-one in conversations with people from different organizations and sometimes in larger meetings, trying to raise this notion that maybe the 3-year or the 5-year or the 10-year plans that we have, put them aside and let's think about our 6-month plans and our 1-year plans, because it's now that we need to be on top of our game. And I don't want to sound like I'm diminishing the good work that so many people, so many organizations have done, but this moment is different. We have to function differently. And that's not to say we leave aside or put aside the things we have learned, the tactics that we've grown with and put to good use, or the analysis of what the problems are. But we need to go wider. We need to dig deeper and be more creative and bolder and smarter and wiser in the work we're doing. This is a time when, let me say this another way. I believe strongly that strong organizations are critical to our long-term work, right? We need strong, healthy, dynamic, welcoming organizations. This is a time when our maximum effort, I believe, needs to go not into organization building, but into movement building. They are not in conflict with each other, but they are different. We need scale, we need to bring the work that is already in motion. We need to build a movement that is at scale with the problems that we face, and we're not there yet. Do I think we can get there? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen overnight? No. But do I know it needs to happen quickly? Yes. Because the big guys are moving at lightning speed, right? And we need to catch up with our own selves, right? We need to really recalibrate how we're doing some of the work that we're doing without throwing out our own history and what we know works. I'm sorry to say I don't have a plan to offer you, a roadmap, follow these 10 points and everything will fall into place. I don't have that. What I know, though, is that amongst us and the people we work with, it's there. We just have to find it together and put it into place. Finally, a few wrap-up thoughts here. We have to find a way, and right now I'm particularly talking about white people when I say we have to find a way to make sure that every single thing we are working on, we are looking at through the lens of race and racism. It runs through everything. And we cannot expect or demand of people of color that they carry that weight alone. That's on us, as white people, to understand the depth of racism and to expose it and dismantle it. Again, sorry, I don't have a blueprint for how to do that. I also want to name two other things. Second thing it is gender. Gender and particularly misogyny. The depths of women hating in this country are in front of us every single day, right? And we have to understand that the structure of misogyny and gender oppression also runs through everything. And we cannot, at our own peril, we ignore that. We have got to expose it and counter it and fight against it. And finally, we have to say the word and name the system that is, again, controls so much of life in this country and in too many places in the world. And that's very simply capitalism. We have to name it. We have to name it, and we have to be articulating an alternative. And there are alternatives. Having said that, some of our historic models have not worked out so well. Let's be honest, right? But there's starting points, the things we can learn from there. And the analysis that led to some of those efforts over the decades still holds true, particularly if that analysis about capitalism is infused with the analysis about gender and racial dynamics and oppression. You put that package together and we have something to build for. And that's part of our fight right now. It's not only about what we are fighting against, but what are we fighting for? It is time to put that out there as strongly and as boldly as we can. So, and then my last thought for the day is again Palestine. I honestly don't understand how anybody thinks we are going to stop fascism if we cannot end a genocide. Genocide, there's a long history. There's a long history of genocide being a central tool of fascism, right? This is not the first genocide the world has seen. It must be the end of genocides. We must make this genocide that the Israeli government, with the total support of the US government, including leadership of the Democratic Party, I must say, they are conducting a genocide. It's not on the front pages. It's not breaking news like every other thing it is, but it is real every single day in Gaza and the West Bank. So we have got to find a way in the work we do to stop fascism in this country, to highlight, to call attention to the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. These are not separate fights. So on that very happy note, again, I just want to thank the other honorees for all the work that you do and your organizations do. I want to thank the People's World and the Communist Party for honoring me and us and our work. And as we all know, no matter what age we are, what age we are, our work is far from over. So everyone take a deep breath, get a nap here and there, go to the beach if it ever warms up. Do all those things we need to do, and let's win this battle.
Amazing, amazing. Congratulations, Leslie. I don't recall when I first encountered you. It was definitely in coalition space, but I can say without the shadow of doubt that you are one of the most incredible organizers and consistent people I've ever encountered in my life. And I thank you so much for your work, Leslie. And I think I'll have some closing thoughts, and then I'll bring up Lindsay to send us out in song. You know, I really think it's important for us to also recognize the importance of the intergenerational relationship and coalition. Thinking about Hands Off NYC and other spaces that we've been in together, I think it's important to think about the vehicle that is cultural production. You know, it's one of the things that I hadn't thought so much about the last 10 years of my organizing, thinking hyper specifically about policy, about political education, about practice, lesser about song, lesser about chant. I'm good at chant, I'm good at song. But I know now that they are fundamental because they help us develop the human capacities that are necessary to develop the analysis that we need to move us forward and the will to go forward. So I say, in the name of all of the people, the working class people around the world who are constitutive to our ability to even be in this moment right now, to live long and to struggle hard as Leslie has. And I hope for all of us here to move towards the world that we truly deserve. So on behalf of all the people on People's World and the CPUSA, I thank you so much. Again, I'm Jawanza. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to close us out in some beautiful music again, we will have Lindsay.
Okay. Again, it is an honor. Absolutely. Yeah, I wrote these songs today looking for a home to sing them in, because these songs were speaking to my spirit, to my heart, and just wondering throughout, like, where can I sing so people can be inspired? Like, where do these songs fit so I can do my part? Because I got the calling of these songs. They came through me, and I had to take them somewhere where people can be moved. This last song that I'm going to do for you is called The People Shall Rise. And it speaks to the struggle. There is no color anymore. We are in the same boat now, which was my first song. And, you know, we come from the water. So this song speaks to our rising up. And this is the time to do it. And I'm here for it. I'm a late bloomer, by the way. So I'm older, but I'm young. So, so I'm learning. And I'm glad I'm here to learn. It's never too late. So thank you, Ben. Thank you all for being such warriors, being strong in the fight, and teaching us new bloomers how to catch up and be able to offer you the support. The people shall rise. how it ebbs, how it flows. My spirit was brought here by water on a ship a long time ago. Yeah, I was brought here to this place called America to be shamed and disgraced, brought to my knees. But what the man don't understand, like a tree, I will always stand, and just like the water, just like the water, just like the water, the people shall rise on, just like the waters, just like the waters, just like the waters, the people shall rise. All right. Yeah, 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 yeah. La, 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 la. Now we all know the truth. They're trying to displace us, trying to erase us. But don't you know they will never have their way, 'cause just like the waters, just like the waters, just like the waters, the people shall rise on, just like the waters, just like the waters, just like the waters, the people shall rise, and there won't be no levee to stop us, won't be no hand to hold us back, just like the waters, the people shall rise. Yeah, 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 just like the waters. Whoa, whoa, just like the waters. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah, just like the waters, the people shall rise. Yeah, 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 yeah. La, 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 la. Now we all know the waters, its powers, how it ebbs, how it flows, and so it goes, that no matter what they do to us, no matter what they say, the people will find a way, and just like the waters, just like the waters, just like the waters, the people shall rise, on, just like the waters, just like the waters, just like the waters, the people shall rise, and there won't be no levee to stop us, won't be no hand to hold us back, just like the waters, the people shall rise, yes, the people Thank you so much, y'all.